Today's topic for discussion is acceptance. So, acceptance is receiving or taking something offered. That is the common meaning of the word acceptance. But in the spiritual sense, acceptance can be defined as a person's approval or assent to the reality of a situation without any attempt to change it, protest, or exit. In the language of Shankara, Sahanam sarva dukkhanam apratikara purvakam chinta vilapa rahitam. And Shankara calls it not srikaram, he says titiksha, endurance. Endurance is also acceptance of the situation as it is. And what is the ultimate of that endurance, acceptance? Is all difficulties, adversities you accept without any complaint. And without, not only complaint, without any worries and without any fomentation. Chinta vilapa rahitam. You are very comfortable with whatever comes in your life. Accept that. It's easier said than done. It's very difficult to accept the situation when it's not to our liking, when it really makes our things difficult. Eckhart Tolle, in his Power of Now, defines acceptance as this is it, response to anything occurring in any moment of life. This is it. I can handle it, I can accept it. Acceptance is opposite to resistance and fight, and as a consequence, acceptance gives us strength, peace, and serenity. Acceptance of the situation gives us strength. But how difficult to accept the new ideas. Sometimes new ideas are floated. Sometimes we also have new thoughts, new ideas, new organization. When Ramakrishna Mission was being formed with the idea of monastic brotherhood giving themselves to the service of the society, it was not easy for society to accept. They were ridiculed. So Swami Vivekananda had said, every new idea, if it has truth in it, will go through 3 phases. The first, it will be ridiculed, then there will be strong opposition, and finally, with the power of truth that is in it, with the power of goodness that is in it, it will be accepted. Ridicule, opposition, and acceptance for a new idea that is good and has truth in it is always there. Acceptance is the quality of a spiritually right person. Not that everyone can accept. They fight for everything. Gas prices. Today it is $1.32. It is difficult to accept that why they increase. It was a few days ago, it was $1.20. So those who are not very spiritual, at least grudge. They will not fight to the government. They will have grudge inside. Why they are going increasing day by day? Those who have faith in the government of ours, made by us, and they know the economy of the situation, they will say, yes, in winter it will rise, again when there is production more it will decrease, so it's always there, goes up and down. So like that acceptance comes. So acceptance is always a sign of maturity. And there is a thought and reason behind the acceptance, not that you accept without reason. So when you just fight for, like standing on a red light, how people behind us, if there is a little delay when the light is green, how some people can't accept that delay and they get enraged, they put horn, they may even go and even yell at you. How this non-acceptance of the situation of that person was delayed by a few minutes, perhaps 5 seconds, not minute at all. So that even becomes so unacceptable to them, and it all shows the smallness of their heart and their unreasonable hurry to go somewhere. What they will do within 5 seconds. But if a large-hearted person, a spiritual person, he will always or she will always think about the other person, oh, there might be some reason, and accept the things. So acceptance is always a thing of a spiritually right person. Acceptance gives us many spiritual qualities. Let us first see sympathy. If we are able to accept others, your heart is filled with sympathy for others. You feel for that person's difficulties, adversity, and in the process, you grow a lot of compassion for others. If a human being is there, his heart is there, without sympathy and compassion, can that be called a human heart? The person becomes brutal in the absence of the quality of acceptance, which is not manifested as sympathy and compassion. And when that acceptance is more in a deeper level, there comes love. Without love, acceptance is difficult. You love other person. You really love when you think spiritually, that person in front of me in car might have some difficulty, was distracted, was worried. Then you start loving that person, and with love comes all these qualities of sympathy, compassion. The first, love is the root of all. When love matures, there is the feeling of unity. So acceptance will give us sympathy, compassion, love, and finally we feel one. There is a sense of unity. But can we accept everything in life? For example, job security. How to accept job insecurity, job loss, financial insecurity, threatening our lives and our family, without getting worried, agitated, losing ends and controls. To begin the journey towards acceptance, try letting go of analyzing or attempting to figure out, to judge, to question, scratching heads and searching the whys of the situation. Have trust, have faith, have anticipation of only good. Know that everything is happening and it has its higher meaning. That's a great thing, to be able to accept the situation in thinking that good is coming, something better will come. The hope, without hope and faith, the acceptance doesn't come. Realizing and understanding that every life experience has a purpose, even if beyond our knowing and understanding, helps us to make the way to accept very easily. We are all the part of the big picture, and we have small roles to play in that picture. Our life is a long, drawn process, whatever short life we have, but the smallest situation is not the whole of life, so we need to think of that. Not always we get miseries, not always we get joys. We have seen the persons that particular phase and not all life. Joys come and go, sufferings come and go. When joys come, we don't think that there will come a suffering. That is our mistake. So joy and suffering, they alternate in life. That is what makes our life a life. And when suffering comes, even for a few moments or few days, we feel so enormously bogged down with that we feel that we are gone. We are nobody. That's what Holy Mother says. Don't worry for the misery and suffering. Have patience to endure that. It will also pass. This shall too pass. This too shall pass. That we have to remember always. And she said, haven't you seen how water flows under the bridge? Like that is the suffering. It will just is there today. Tomorrow it will go and pass under the water, like water passing under the bridge. Have that faith in the changing of the nature. To begin the journey toward acceptance, try letting go of analyzing or attempting to figure out the whys of the situation and seek trust, realizing every life experience has a purpose, even if beyond our knowing, helps pave the way to acceptance. Just holding that we cannot resolve or understand within our hearts moves us closer to acceptance. As we aspire toward acceptance of life's challenges, grace gives us with a measure of comfort and solace. Losing a job is likely a blessing. So it is so much difficult when you lose job. But it can be taken as a blessing in disguise, although in the moment the loss or the fear may seem insurmountable. The family life and self-esteem, any person in this situation would think that this was one of the worst things that could happen to us in this lifetime, and we think we never find any acceptance. Now, with the clarity of situation, I see losing my job was divine intervention. By losing everything I thought I valued, I discovered what was really important to me. I lost everything but found myself. They say you can use it as a positive thing. The time that you have no job can be used to improve your skills, improve your certificates, your academic qualification, and you can do many things when there is no job. So trying to take the negative and adverse situation and how to make it positive and good is a sign of acceptance to that situation. Not that job is gone, you're happy, your job is gone. Not that. That is not the acceptance. Acceptance is how to make it utilize in a better way. Because that is the real life situation. Jobs come and go, good times come and go. Similarly, bad times also come and go. Now, for the acceptance to treat is that first to have the conviction that it exists, that the difficulties exist. For example, like babies when they are born, they are helpless. How gradually they accept their parents. Its mother, its father, there is no question. They accept whoever is giving them solace, care, and nurturing them, and giving them food. That's how the acceptance comes. The faith in the person that takes our care. There is acceptance in environmental level. For example, suppose so much winter cold. When the human beings started being civilized, how do they started living in a cave, and how do they started building house? They accepted that there is winter. Because of the acceptance of the adverse situation, they tried to fight with it, and then they built the house. The house was cold in winter. They brought the fuel, they brought the firewood, they started warming it. And when the more technology came, electricity came, now we have centrally heated houses. This is all the beginning of this is the acceptance that weather will become very, very cold in winter, particularly in a country like Canada. Acceptance at the social level also is there. As it is at the environmental level, at the social level there is acceptance. In social level, mostly we are under the peer pressure of the community, pressure of the group. So we start accepting the norms of the group. A particular hairstyle your teenager will have. Mom, I want to have that. Why you want to have that? We never in our family have that sort of keeping our head up and being glued there. Oh, my all friends do that. You accept that. Yes, my son wants to do, okay. You don't just say, you can't do that. It is our tradition. He has to go and meet with his friends. His friends will ridicule. Let him decide that. It is a simple thing for a few days. Don't get alarmed that your son wants something and he will be looking so peculiar in his life. How could I? This is for the time being, for a few days, and after that he will be again normal. So nothing to be worried with what our children demand, something peculiar, something strange. You don't know the situation of his peer pressure. His dress or her dress, she will want something, her ornaments, her makeup. Nothing to be alarmed, just to accept because of their peer pressure. That happens in our community also. In our communities, we also tend to do that way. If we want to remain in the community where we together, you accept some things which you may not like. But without that, it's very difficult to be in that community. Either you come out of that, I don't like, it's too much of vices. There's so much of smoking and drinking, I can't do that. Then you don't become a part of that. You just give up that. That is also acceptance that being in that community is not good for me, my health, and my values. So I don't want to be in that community. You accept that your remaining in that community will not be good for you. Another acceptance is, in the social level, is to accept that there are various types of people. Not that the whole world is good, or not that the whole world is bad. Not in any sphere. We often find the complaints about the politicians. So, Abraham Lincoln had written a letter to the headmaster of his son, that if you can teach, O teacher, to my son, teach that among many politicians there are some honest and good patriots. Among many officers, there are very human-loving and very sincere toward. So there are always good people. Good and bad is a mixture that is the creation. Creation cannot be always everything good. Creation cannot be everything bad either. So we have to always remember, Sri Ramakrishna said, this is how the world is made. So there will be some people who will be to your liking, some others will not be to your liking. You have to accept that there will be people who will give me trouble. You be prepared for that. There will be people who are very friendly, others will be very egotistic and giving trouble to us. But we have to deal in this world with those people. That is what the acceptance. Sri Ramakrishna said, there are very nice and simple animals, humble animals like cows and deer, and also there are tigers and snakes and lions, ferocious animals. There are very good plants that give us food and nourishment. Also there are poisonous plants. So how this world is created, that's how the world is created, and you cannot deny, and you cannot expect to have everything to be according to your liking, everything to be good. Accepting the world as it is at the social level is very important. What about at the personal level? Personal level, you see how people accepted their purpose in life, and they could sacrifice with their acceptance of what they thought is right. We find great freedom fighters in India. They could go even to the gallows trying to make their country free. This is because of the acceptance of their role in freeing the country from foreign domination. We have Netaji, we have Bhagat Singh, so many examples. Mostly we accept other situations, adversities, different types of people, but where we find difficulty in accepting sometimes is our own being, as we are. Do we accept ourselves? We often condemn ourselves. Oh, I am not good in this, I am bad, this thing is bad. That is not the right way to think about ourselves. The guilt feeling, the wrong feeling about ourselves is totally denying the acceptance, which will make us very unspiritual. Let us accept ourselves as we are. We might have some shortcomings. Who doesn't have? Everyone created has some ego, has some defect. We also have some defects. And those defects, by the grace of God, by the spiritual practice, by our constant vigil, we will overcome that. That much faith in ourselves will make us accept what we are. With our good qualities and with our not so good qualities, we are what we are. And we have to remember that our role as we are is also very important in the world. We mean a lot to many people. That we should remember. We give happiness to many people in the world. Our life here as we are is worth living. It's very important. Many people don't understand how important our life is. When we are here, so accepting ourselves at present, so as we are, is very important. But this acceptance doesn't stop us seeking change. Like they say, you have a house, and you are very comfortable, a small 2-room, 2-bedroom, and a small house. You see a big house, but you accept your present dwelling place as good for you, with a little interest in when in future, after 5 years, when you have more income, you will move to perhaps a bigger house or a big backyard where you can have the barbecue in the summertime. This accepting the present situation doesn't bar you for seeking a change for better in future. Not that you are hankering and say, oh, I don't like this house, I want that now. Not that. You accept this at present. It doesn't make you glued to this place. Even the situations change, even the income change, even the demand change. Your children will grow, you will need more house. Your relative may come from other cities, you need greater house. When situations come, you will move to other place. Accepting doesn't mean that there is no scope for change. Acceptance also foresees change in life. Now at the spiritual level, acceptance more about the spiritual level, you see, every religion says about the acceptance. They have a particular central thought, every religion, and says we need to accept that. For example, say Buddhism. What Buddhism said? What is there to accept? It's so rational religion, which even doesn't think about God, doesn't name God. It's only says about the practice, do yourself, and become blessed by conquering your lower nature. What is there to accept, to have faith in? The basic thing in Buddhism is what Buddha understood, he accepted is all life is suffering. The existence of suffering has to be accepted in Buddhism. There is suffering. With that comes first the Buddha, who was denied a scene of suffering in his palace, found out that there is suffering in the world. There is suffering in life. Every human being, the suffering will come in his life today or tomorrow. That first he accepted. Now he tried to find out a way out of suffering. Is there a way that we can go beyond suffering? And he found out, yes, there is a way. You practice these 8 types of Ashtanga Marga. You make your life based on these principles. You will have no suffering in life. Devoid of that, there is tremendous suffering in life. In Hinduism, what is the main tenet for acceptance is God is the doer of everything. That is the main thing. If you accept that, you will be spiritually accepting the principle of this Hinduism, and what this acceptance will do? You will make you peaceful and happy, and finally you will have enlightenment. Sri Ramakrishna gives the example of that weaver who used to weave clothes, and he always believed that God is the doer of everything. So, and he had so firm conviction that everything happens by God's will. God for him, he called Rama as the God. So, he was so honest. And whatever he sold the things, he used to say, I brought this thread for so much is the labor cost, and so much is my profit, so I will sell you in this price. So everything was open to him. And people, they respected his honesty and his belief in God. So once he was sitting, you see how bad things happen to good people also. Once he was that so devoted person, never did any harm to anyone, we often think, why bad happened to me? I didn't do anything wrong. Bad happens in life. To good person and to bad persons. Perhaps it happens more to good persons. But by that way, because suffering comes to good person, a good person cannot become a bad person. He is bound to become good by his very nature, our very nature. And similarly, a person who is able-minded remains evil in many cases. So this good person, devoted of God, was sitting there after having night meal and whatever transaction went, and there suddenly came a band of robbers where they had a they needed more person to carry the loot. So they found this person sitting on the veranda of his house on the ground floor. One of them caught his hold and dragged him. Come with us. He understood there is something wrong going on. They were robbers going to rob a village. Then they went and they brought out the luggage and the goods and the trunks and the suitcases and whatever was there, and they took something on their head, but mostly they put on the head of this person who was a devotee of God, good person, rob articles there. Then suddenly somehow police got the information and police came and the robbers they knew how to flee. All of them fled. And this good gentleman who came with robbers, who was dragged by robbers, was caught red-handed with the robbed articles, robbed materials. Then the person was put, there was a proof. Nothing can be denied. And then he was taken to police custody and next day to the court. Now the judge asked, what happened? Why are you robbing? He said, no, my lord, I was not robbing. So what happened? Lord, everything happens by the will of Rama. God does everything. So by the will of Rama, after day's work, I was resting on my veranda in the ground floor, and a band of robbers came. By the will of God, by the will of Rama, they caught hold of me because they had shortage of people. By the will of Rama, they looted the village. By the will of Rama, they put a lot of luggage on my head. By the will of Rama, police came that very time. By the will of Rama, all dacoits fled. By the will of Rama, I was caught red-handed. By the will of Rama, whole night I was there in police custody last night, and by the will of Rama, Lord, I am before you. Now, this was his explanation. Everything happened by the will of Rama. Now, judge, listening to this, with the intuition and the character and the understanding the nature and character of the person, he understood that this man is not a real culprit. He will not go. And then he released him. After some time he came out of the court, and there were villagers, so many in number coming, they knew this person was a very good person. And they said, what happened, what happened? And he said, everything he explained, saying by the will of Rama this happened, and at the end he said, by the will of Rama, just let me go free. So, you see, good person also had some bad thing going on, but those who accept, according to the tenets of Hinduism, that God is the doer of everything. Everything happens by the will of God. So he had no difficulty in accepting, and the whole night he was in the police custody. Maybe he had some mosquito bite. He was somebody thought that he had really robbed, but with that he was released. What to do? This thing happens in life. This is the central tenet of Hinduism. What is Christianity's main thing that they ask you to accept is man is a born sinner. And the philosophy for this is, when Adam and Eve were there in heaven, somehow they ate the apple and suddenly they become aware of their body. And that is considered as sin. Very nicely described in the scripture. What is the sin? Original sin is a man who is created by becoming conscious of their bodily existence. Before that, what was there? They had the existence, but they never thought they are the body. They thought they are the spirit, holy and pure and perfect. As soon as they had that fruit of ignorance, you see, this is called a fruit of ignorance. When the ignorance came, then they thought they are bodies, and this ignorance is termed as sin. When the Christianity says that every man, every human being, man is a born sinner, means man, when he thinks he or she is a body, then it is a sin. Sin in the form of ignorance. Not that something is terrible and it will let it down. It is ignorance which can be removed by knowledge. It is darkness which can be removed by light. That's what this thing is. So that is the Christianity thing. The concept or the idea that I am body and body alone is a sin. Vedanta try to say it is ignorance. What Islam says, what you have to accept in Islam. Islam says, there is no other God than Allah. And Allah is the greatest. So how does it fit? Allah is the supreme goodness according to Islam, Muslims. And in that, the goodness, and you have to focus your mind towards that supreme reality which remains present in this life after you are dead, that is ever-present thing. And to draw your mind from any other thing. What people think, whatever they love more, they think that is their God. For a miserly people, in fact, the money becomes God. He thinks money will give him all knowledge, all joy, he feels security, everything in money. Money becomes God. So, but here, the Islam says, Allah is alone God, who takes our care, who sees us. You have to pray to Him, you have to be logical to Him, and you have to be devoted to that God as the supreme thing to be attained. That is the basic principle of Islam, basic acceptance. Judaism says you have to accept the 10 commandments. Now see, what are the 10 commandments? Thou shalt have no other gods, the zealous God. This also is the God, not other anything that you can think attractive or you feel secure. Only in God. No other God means you cannot place any other thing as God. God should be your highest aspiration, highest love. That's what it means. No graven images or likeness. So that society was there at that time when people thought small images were God themselves. Without understanding that images are the symbols of God. So you can explain that way, Vedanta can explain that way. Not take the Lord's name in vain. Making your mouth and your action equal. Don't say that in the name of God, you do say something, I swear by God, but you don't mean anything. That is taking God's name in vain. You don't mean that God happens. Sri Ramakrishna says, children say, I swear by Mother Kali. They don't understand this meaning at all. What does it mean? Just taking the name of God without any understanding, without any meaning. Then it says, remember the Sabbath day. At least once a week, devote your time and energy for God. That's what the Sabbath means. It said, do it on Saturday. Give up everything else. Be fully devoted to God at least once a week. Every action, everything should be prayerful. That whole day should be prayerful. That's what Sri Krishna says. Man mana bhavamad bhakto madhya jimam namaskuru. Remember me, think of me, worship me, sacrifice for me. That's why. Then you see the 5th commandment. It says, honor thy father and thy mother. How beautiful. Every religion says that. They are the one who do so much for you. If you don't honor them, if you don't love them, what a human being you are. You are not called to be fit to be called human being. Upanishads, the Vedas says, Matri Devo Bhava, Pitri Devo Bhava. You honor them as God themselves. Then it says, thou shalt not kill. You have to believe in all these things. Thou shalt not kill. In Hinduism, in Vedanta, there is so much said about ahimsa. The first of the Yama and Niyama, you see, ahimsa satya asteya. You shall not injure. And you go further, not only not killing, but not injuring others by words, by thoughts, words or deed. You don't injure, even by thoughts. You don't think anything bad for others. Thou shalt not commit adultery, brahmacharya, self-control. Thou shalt not steal, asteya. You don't think about others' property as yours. You are satisfied what you have. Let him be millionaire. I am happy with my few thousands of income per year. That person is billionaire doesn't make me, I have to be billionaire. That control and happiness with what you have. Not bear false witness. Be truthful in every situation of life. Thou shalt not covet. Don't be greedy. You see how beautiful everything it asks to accept, but how these 10 commandments are in every religion and how we can find this parallel in Hinduism. Hinduism says aparigraha of the yama and niyama, one of the qualities aparigraha. Another, with that comes santosha, satisfaction, happiness. You are happy with what you have. That's how it says to accept. What Ramakrishna Vivekananda said, Ramakrishna Vivekananda also say accept. What you accept? Accept all religions as true. Don't say only my Brahman is right, or don't say only my Rama is right. Accept all gods and goddesses of every religion, that they are trying to catch the reality through them. Every religion is true. All religions lead to the spiritual upliftment. And Sri Ramakrishna said, if anyone says that my religion alone is right, my idea alone is right, that is very deplorable thought. Swami Vivekananda says, if Sri Ramakrishna hated anything other like kamini kanchana, like enjoyment of the worldliness, it is this dogmatism, saying that my thought alone is right, my religion alone is right, my idea of God alone is right, my name of God alone is the name of God. Give up that, accept all. Every religion, every thought, every faith, every incarnation, every prophet, there is truth in their teaching. There is the way to ultimate goodness in their teaching. Swami Vivekananda, that's why he said in the first lecture in the Parliament of Religions, we believe not only in universal toleration, but we accept all religions as true. Holy Mother said, don't find fault with others. This is the greatest acceptance. No one is alien. Learn to make the whole world your own. What can be greater acceptance than that? Accept everyone as he or she is. No one is alien. Everyone is yours. The whole world is yours. Ishopanishad said, Yastu sarvani bhutani atman neva nupashyati. Sarva bhuteshu chapmanam tatona vijigupsate. How can you accept everyone? How can you get freed from all hatred from other persons? How can you cease to have the distinction with others? Try to see everyone in yourself and yourself in every other self. Yastu sarvani bhutani atmani eva anupashyati. Sarva bhuteshu cha atmanam. Yourself in others, others in yourself. Then only you can be freed from hatred. Tatona vijigupsate. Hatred, separation, alienation, all will go. Holy Mother's thing being echoed there. What can be greater message for acceptance than this message of the Holy Mother? To summarize, one of the hardest things most people encounter is to simply accept things the way they are, whether that has to do with your own personal life or any other event or person in the wide world. But it is well worth your while to accept. You will save yourself considerable emotional discomfort when you do. When you rail against reality, it is like a great wave crushing against the headland rocks. Nothing really happens in perceptible time, except sound and fury and wet spray. Important too is your acceptance of yourself as you are right now. It does not mean that you cannot think about improving if that is your desire. It means consenting to yourself, affirming yourself just as you are. You have no other in this moment. And to be unaccepting of that self in this moment is to waste time, energy, and emotional self-support. Let's look at it from this angle. Strip away all religious concepts from your thinking at the moment. Cast aside all societal and peer pressures. Just look at yourself as objectively as you can. Now imagine that the source of all there is regarding you as well. What does the source think of you? When all conventional pressures are removed, you know that you are accepted just as you are. No matter your condition or status is compared with any stricture outside entities may want to place upon you. In the sight of the source, you are accepted just as you are. Why? Because you are part of the source, just as it is. Therefore, because the source is all accepting, you are accepted. When you know yourself to be accepted by the source, just as you are, how can you not accept yourself? You must. Let's move on to events and people in the world around you. Do you have any real or direct control over anyone or anything else? No, absolutely not. Then the best course of action or thought is simply to accept things and people the way they are. Once again, it doesn't mean the things and the life situations of people cannot be improved. Perhaps they ought to be amended, but that does not need to put any pressure on you to change them. Change them if you want to, not because if you have to. Again, when you accept things the way they are, you allow yourself some emotional comfort. Emotional comfort is perfectly alright. When you are in discomfort, you may become irritable. When irritated, you are in discomfort, obviously. When in discomfort, you do not function optimally. Practically then, you may get less done and change things less. In other words, accept things the way they are, and you will have a better chance of changing them. Acceptance is not weakness, it is a stance of strength. accept acceptance as a way of life for yourself. You will be the better for it. Begin now. Thank you.